Thanks for coming today. I want to talk to you about Samadhi. What it is, how it expresses itself. How can you tell if somebody has the state of Samadhi, and even if you have had a Samadhi experience in your past life? First of all, you should believe that you lived before. I actually have had a couple of students who have lived before. One, Josh, who was Paul in a past life. Now, there's a lot of things that he went through to discover for himself that he was Paul. But the absolute, clearest indication that he was Paul in a past life is, even though he doesn't remember his past life very much. If you were to ask him, he doesn't remember the events that happened in the Bible, except for one thing: the state of Samadhi itself. So if you're looking in YouTube here, and you come across people that say, oh, I've had Samadhi. First of all, how can you know that they had Samadhi? Well, I'm going to give you some links to Josh's website, and also to Matt, who is the reincarnation of Peter. And you can see for yourself that something happened to them. Okay, they've had a Samadhi experience. Now, Josh, who was Paul the previous lifetime, actually, when he was growing up, he remembered the Samadhi experience. It is impossible to forget that experience. We know that Paul experienced that because he says, I die daily in the Bible. And people say, oh, that means I die in Christ and all the other stuff. No, he meant that literally. His breath stopped. He went into Samadhi. His mind stopped. He went into Samadhi. When you have Samadhi, the mind cannot go. While you're in Samadhi, your mind knows nothing. It has shut down. It has died. Okay? When you come back from that state of Samadhi, then you as this jiva inform the mind. Oh, I was in that space of complete bliss. Now, all you have to do to see today's version of that is a book called The Proof of Heaven. This is a Jewish doctor that went into a state of Samadhi and had experiences while his mind was shut down. Okay. Samadhi is characterized by an overwhelming flow of energy. So if you're looking at stuff on YouTube and the person doesn't say, my mind was completely flooded with energy, it still is with me, because it doesn't leave you once you've had that. That's why when Josh died and was reborn when he was 6, he kept looking I know I had that before. I feel it. Okay, so the karma from the past life starts to overshadow your mind. And so you couldn't see it anymore. So, Peter's experience, Peter of the Bible, was different. He never experienced Samadhi in that past life. But just recently he did. If you go look at his video now, after the Samadhi experience and before the Samadhi, he's actually had 2 Samadhi experiences now. You can see the energy difference. So that's how you tell. You go look at people's videos and you look at their previous one. If there's no energy, there's no Samadhi. It is unmistakable. Okay, well, so past lives. You believe in a past life. What happens if you're on the spiritual path, you don't have a Samadhi experience, or even if you do, Samadhi is not the end of spiritual realization. Ramakrishna, the great Bengal saint, said, spiritual life starts after Samadhi. Okay. Let me tell you what Krishna said thousands of years ago. I've got a copy of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay? And Arjuna in the 6th chapter said, he was worried about this. Okay? Here's what it says in the 37th verse of the 6th chapter. Arjuna said, he who is unable to control himself, though he has the faith, and whose mind wanders away from yoga, what end does he, having failed to attain perfection in yoga, meet? So, become self-realized. What end does he, having failed to attain perfection in yoga, meet, O Krishna? Fallen from both spiritual path and the secular path, in quotes, does he not perish like a rank cloud, supportless, O mighty armed Krishna, deluded on the path of Brahma? So, this is a worry. Okay? This doubt of mine, O Krishna, do thou dispel completely, because it is not possible for any but thee to dispel this doubt. So, in order to know the truth of what happens to you after karma, after death or before birth, in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, it talks about how in knowing the past and future of your lives. A couple places. I won't go into how you do it just yet, but this is what he said. Okay, so you got to understand that Krishna knows. O Arjuna, neither in this world nor in the next world is the destruction for him. None, verily, who does good, O my son, ever comes to grief. And Krishna is using the term metaphorically because he is telling him the truth that he doesn't know. Having attained to the worlds of the righteous and having dwelt there for everlasting years, he who fell from yoga is reborn in a house of the pure and wealthy. Oh, geez, that's pretty good, isn't it? If you've ever met saintly people, you know that being around them, they're always trying to do good for you. And not only will you be born into a family where you'll be loved and cared for, but you also will be wealthy. And you can see this today. people have children, people who are wealthy have children who aren't interested in wealth. They're completely disinterested in accumulation of some sort. What they are interested in, if they've had a Samadhi experience, or if they've met someone that had that Samadhi experience and were in close contact with them, they want that again. Okay. Or he is born in a family of even the wise yogis. Verily a birth like this is very difficult to obtain in this world. So being born in a wealthy family is not as beneficial as being born in the family of the wise yogis. There he comes in touch with the knowledge acquired in his former body and strives more than before for perfection, O Arjuna, and even more so when you have the Samadhi state, because the bliss that comes from that cannot be compared to anything else. It is incomparable. Now I remember talking to Matt and saying to him, okay Matt, when this hits you, you have no idea how much power there is. So with all his imagining, Matt was because he didn't have that experience. Now Josh, on the other hand, had that experience, and even the energy of the Samadhi experience surpassed what he had before. And see, that's the odd thing about Samadhi, is that once you have it, the energy doesn't go down. As a matter of fact, it continues to go up. So your Samadhi experience the next time around is even more powerful than the last one, by many magnitudes. It's impossible to describe. So that when you hear the term blissed out, the only people that really know that term are the people that have had Samadhi. Krishna goes on, there he comes in touch with the knowledge acquired in his former body and strives more than before for perfection, O Arjuna. Okay, well, if you do something in the past, okay, and you like it, and it's worth all the effort that you put into it, well, then you're going to want to repeat it. Okay. Okay, so the commentary Shivananda says, when he takes a human body again in this world, his previous exertions and practice in the path of yoga are not wasted. They bear full fruit now and hasten his moral and spiritual evolution. By that very former practice he is borne on in spite of himself. Even he who merely wishes to know yoga goes beyond the Brahmic word. You know, Swami Kriyananda just passed away a short time ago. But if you read in his autobiography of Western Yoga, he talks about, he read Yogananda's autobiography of a yogi when he was like 22. Now he was very accomplished. He had mastered 7 languages. His parents were diplomats. And he had money. He was one of those guys. The last time I saw him, I asked him, I says, well, were you Uddhava in the story of Krishna. And he says, no. He says, I was a minor king, and when I retired to the forest to do meditation. So he didn't say exactly what his connection to Arjuna and Krishna was. But he knew enough to say that. But the real test of his past life and the ability to come in contact with the Samadhi experience is that when he read that book for the first time in New York, he put the book down and got on a bus and went to Los Angeles. Why? Because he was one of these guys. Okay? So, I am looking for people like that. And if you, again, if I refer to Yogananda, you know, Yogananda says he didn't want to be with a crowd of people. Rather than that, he would rather have a small group of dedicated spiritual people. And better than that, he wanted to be with a crowd of spiritual people. And part of the reason is that when you're with those type of people, your own energy goes up. So I guess I'm being a little selfish, aren't I? Wanting to meet you if you are one of these people, because my own energy will continue to go up. And it goes up in wonderful ways. There are innumerable ways the energy increases. So this is in the Bhagavad Gita, is the description of what happens to people that don't finish their spiritual achievements. Okay, so let me just recap for a minute. If you've had a previous encounter with a Samadhi experience, either you've had the experience yourself, or you've met people that have had that experience. The person that's had the Samadhi experience, nothing else will satisfy them. Okay? And if they've been looking, okay, like Kriyananda, as soon as they come across anything that references that, they will investigate it immediately. If they're like Matt, they sort of are looking for something, they don't know what, because they haven't had that personal experience. So they have nothing to compare it to, except that they know they're dissatisfied with other things in this life. I can feel the future coming to me from this video. I can feel the people that this is going to strike that chord with them. And they're going to want to know what I know. We have, in the eternal religion of which I'm a member, the techniques to get you back into that state the fastest way possible. We have a number of things we will be glad to show you. I will leave some links in the description so you can follow them and check for yourself. That's the thing about truth. When you say the ultimate truth, the truth that leads you to your own understanding of who you are. It's true all the way down. Thank you.